What's going on, guys? Welcome back to your Lake Fork guide. Welcome to my house, as they say. Isn't that like a song or something? In my house. Anyways, it is time today for Lake Fork bass fishing tournament bass fishing preview for the Sealy Big Bass Splash coming up. That's right, it's the big one, folks. And we are even going to do some map study with a full-time Lake Fork guide, also known as this guy. Well, I've got the house somewhat to myself, about as much to myself as I ever get. You're never fully alone here in the Lawson household because we always have these guys. Y'all want to meet some of the family? Let's go meet some of the family. You guys already know this little crazy head, the Skeeter bug. She's fired up, happy to be here. Skeeter, you want to go fishing? She's always ready, folks. But you guys have never met this guy, the big fella. Oh, we got a phone ringing. We'll have to go deal with that. Bear, say hi to everybody. Bear's a little camera shy. This is the Princess Laney. This is her dog, Mr. Bear. He's a Great Pyrenees, and his camera doesn't show it, but he's huge. But he excels at one thing in life better than anybody else on earth. He makes sure that this couch goes absolutely nowhere. I think I better go answer the phone. Got that taken care of. All right, folks, it's time to talk about the Sealy Big Bass Splash. It's coming up. It's coming fast. It's going to be at the end of next week when you guys see this video. We're about a week away from the Sealy Big Bass Splash. So I thought I would give you guys a really in-depth preview of this tournament and really focus today on where to find these fish because so much has changed at Lake Fork as far as how the fish are setting up and really the lake conditions as a whole. You know, we've been down low. We've talked about this ad nauseum throughout the year, but we'll go one more time real quick. We've been low all year. We dropped all the way down to 7.5 foot low over the end of the summer. Then we got a big rain a couple weeks ago, jumped it up 2 feet in one day, all of a sudden from 7.5 to 5.5 foot low in one day. That's a drastic change to a water column, and it really repositioned the fish. Along with that, with all that rain, it really cooled the water temps off. We're hovering around the 80-degree mark right now, and with the weather that we have forecasted, I don't foresee those water temps changing much. They may be 82, they may be 79. They're going to stay close to 80 degrees for the Sealy's event, I would imagine. So what's going on right now on the lake should hold up for the Sealy event. It's pretty unique time of year. It's a fall or summer to fall transition, and it's kind of the early stages of it. The fall bite's not really happening yet. You're starting to see just a few signs of fish chasing shad and blowing up on shad, maybe in the back of a pocket or halfway back in a creek, things like that that you see in the fall. You get a little glimmer of it every once in a while. For the most part, most of these fish are in what I like to call transition areas, where they have steeper sloping banks, creek channel swings, sharp drop-offs on the sides of points, just ledges down a bank, and they're hanging out in those areas where they can move from deep to shallow pretty quickly. And if you can find those types of areas that lead into areas where they will go during the fall, that's really what you want to key in on. These type of drop-off areas that are near the mouths or halfway back into coves, pockets, and creek arms where these fish will go in the fall seem to be the best place to focus your attention right now. That being said, it's not just gangbusters. If you're catching 2 to 3 fish an hour, you're probably out fishing most people on Lake Fork right now. They are really spread out. You got to work hard for the bites. When you do get a bite, they're biting much better than they would typically in a turnover situation because the lake's not really deoxygenated. It's not really turning over. We're just kind of going through that time of year where they transition from summer to fall. So it's got them really spread out. They are biting good when you get them to bite. They're just really spread out, so you got to really search for them to get the bites that you get. All that being said, I thought there would be no better way than to show you guys on some map study of Lake Fork the types of areas that you can expect to find these fish in and how to identify these areas using Navionics web app. And of course, you can use your maps on your graphs on your boat, no matter what you have, your Navionics chip, your Lake Master chips. You can find the same type of contour lines on all those. Even the Lowrance base maps now, which I actually use in my boat, are really, really good. And you can identify those same types of areas using that technology. Guys, with Lake Fork being low, one of the biggest challenges you're going to face while you're here is going to be navigating the lake itself. Be sure you go check out our Your Lake Fork Guide Pro Lanes. They're available at yourlakeforkguide.com. They're also for sale at Lake Fork Marina in a store. We make those for all Humminbird models as well as all Lowrance models, including Solix on the Humminbird side. It's all there for you. Garmin, we haven't got you covered on Garmin, but the other ones, we got you covered. And the beautiful thing about Your Lake Fork Guide Pro Lanes, I designed those lanes with lanes that are marked good to run at 6 foot low and lanes that are marked good to run at 3 foot low. You go get them right now. The 6 foot low lanes, they're all good. You can run those with confidence. Stay tight to those lanes. Use caution. Run at your own risk, because you get off that line, it can get a little sketchy in some areas. But stay on those lines, and you can have all the confidence in the world that you're running lanes that I myself have gone and verified throughout the year while the lake was low, and it'll help you guys navigate around Lake Fork just like a pro. So the biggest conversation we need to have is, what do I mean when I say transition stop signs or transition areas? And like I alluded to before, it's these steeper sloping banks that correlate with the right section of the creek or cove. Now, this is a blown out section of the big main body of Lake Fork, or a section of the main body of Lake Fork, I should say. And you see several small pockets and coves here. Now, as I look at this section of Lake Fork and I look at these contour lines going along here, you can see where some of them kind of spread out. But right here, if you look right there, you see just a bunch of contour lines dark and stuck together, really shaded darkly right there down that bank on this side as well as this side. So let's zoom in on that and see what's going on right there. As you can see, right here at the mouth of this pocket as well is the mouth of this entire bay right here. This entire bay here. We've got some steeper sloping banks, it looks like, based on our contour lines, okay? So this is going to be an area that's going to grab my attention right away. Now, we happen to know this area is the Big Buck Pond Dam. This is a pond dam right here. That's obviously going to have a very steep sloping bank right in there. But you also have steep drops right here and steep drops going down this bank right here. So now I have found the contour lines that I really like. I like to see those steep sloping banks at or near the mouth of a bay or a pocket or a creek, and especially this section right here having several pockets in this one biggest bay in this whole section. This is right at the mouth of that is where the steep sloping bank is. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Now what I got to do is find some cover. Now you could go to Google Maps and look this up as well. And what you will find is significant standing timber going down this bank, significant standing timber behind this pond dam, and even some on this point here as well. But this whole area could be a sweet spot. It's just about finding, I should say this whole area could be a sweet spot. This whole area could contain different sweet spots. It's just about finding the juice within the juice. So what I'm going to look for as I go along here is I'm going to look for any significant changes. Like you see how the lines get extra dark right there, and they kind of get extra dark on the pond dam, and they get extra dark right in there. Those are really going to be the spots that I dial in on. And if I can find on those spots brush piles, standing timber, docks, anything like that, that's going to be a key area for me to look at as I'm studying the map. And we'll zoom back out, and that's a little too far. We need to go in 1, maybe even 2. See, 2, it really shows the contour lines good out there. Now, there's a little area over here many of you are going to be familiar with. This is Big Mustang Creek. Obviously, everybody knows Big Mustang Creek. It holds a lot of fish. A lot of fish get caught right out here in the summertime, and a lot of fish get caught right out here in the summertime. Well, when they get shallow for this summer to fall transition, they're going to go straight to this bank and scatter around. And the areas that are going to tend to hold them the best, where they can go deep to shallow in a hurry, they're going to be the steepest sloping banks. Right out here, way out at the mouth, there's a really steep bank right here, and you got these road beds, so there's some extra juice and flavor added into this. Now, the one problem with this area right here is it is almost outside the mouth of the creek. It is a little too close to the main lake for my liking. I'm not saying you might not catch one there, and I'm going to be honest, if you get on some there, they're liable to be an absolute giant, if we're being honest. I mean, that could be a spot for a huge one. But the places that get my attention a little more than this one right here, even though it looks like the steepest bank, is going to be these points right here. Right here, we've got a creek swing. See, this creek comes in right here and swings right up against that point as it sticks out and creates that really steep slope. So all along this point right here, I like that. And I also like this point right here, which also looks fairly steep as well. Those both look good to my eye as I'm doing map study. Another place that's interesting, probably won't be as many fish, but it might be some that get overlooked, is going to be this sharp drop off the left side of this island. That sharp drop off, any fish that are wanting to go back into this cove are probably going to set up right around in there somewhere. And again, once you find these areas on the map, you then want to look for cover that relates to those areas. So you're going to want to look for brush piles, standing timber, boat docks, things like that. All right, so this here is going to be Birch Creek. You can see that it says Birch Creek right there. And as we scroll through Birch Creek and look, you can see a couple steep banks right here. Birch Creek, the mouth of it's right here. This is the main lake out here. It's the mouth. Couple steep looking banks right in here, but man, that is way out at the very mouth of a very major creek arm. Don't really like that. But as I look through Birch Creek and I look at these pockets here, this pocket over here, this pocket here, you can kind of see a lot of the contour lines are a little slower tapering, not a lot of sharpness. But then even over here, slow tapering, slow tapering. But when I get right here on the main lake part of the main creek arm part of this bank, you can see those contour lines sharpen up and get darker. Also right over here, looks like it may get a little darker than the average bank line right there, especially a little bit off that bank, it drops real quick. And right now, a little bit off that bank means the actual bank is like out here, guys, because the lake's low. But you can also see there's a creek channel that swings in right there. That's always, man, creek channel swings, so good to help you locate fish. Now, one thing I want you guys to be aware of, just because the creek channel swings right here doesn't mean those fish are going to be right there in that section. Hey, they might be over here and they might be over here. Just like with this steep bank, just because that's the steeper dropping part, it doesn't mean they're only going to be here. They might be over here. They might be over here by the corner of the bridge and things like that. They're not necessarily going to be right on the spot right now, because remember, they're transitioning, they're moving, they're spreading out. But these steeper dropping areas do tend to bring more of a fish population in a somewhat smaller area. It's all relative, right, guys? So these are going to give you the area. So we're going to see that creek swing, that steeper bank. Hey, man, we're going to start on this point. We're going to fish our way down and fish all this stuff. And if we can find some juice in there with some docks or timber, like I said, no docks on this stretch, but a lot of standing timber. And if you can find some brush piles, some laydowns, you can just kind of fish along that whole stretch and look for the key areas where you get bites and then fish them even slower once you start getting bit. Same thing over here. There's going to be standing timber down this bank as well, as you guys will see if you look it up on Google Maps. And just another good area that you can try to target some fish right now. All right, show you guys one more that's really interesting to me. As you can see, we got this big cove right here. This is Wolf Branch. Everybody knows Wolf Branch. Good contour lines of Wolf Branch overall, but you know, a lot of them are a little more spread out or whatever have you. But right here, you guys can see that little juicy juice sitting right there. That's the old juice hole. We'll zoom in on that and take a closer look at it. Oh, what do you know? What do we have here? We've got a main lake point that runs out this way, and over here off the side of it, you got a big creek channel that swings right up against it. Creates that steeper dropping area right there, guys. That is going to be a key area. Now, 8 feet, right now that's going to be 2.5 feet deep with 2.5 feet of water on that right now. 12 feet right now, that's going to have 8 or 9, 10 foot of water on it right now. Even though the creek swings out here, this 0 to 6 foot is where we've been catching most of our fish. So what I want you guys to look for in your map study, even though the sharper drop is right out in front of it, that's okay. That sharper drop is going to attract them. Remember, they can go shallow to deep during the transition, and then they will filter out and set up along that top side of it. And I would fish anywhere from out here on the point in 0 to 6 or 8 foot of water, and I'd fish all the way around over to here in 0 to 6 or 8 foot of water and fish all that timber in there. That's a good little stretch. You can get in there and pick apart all those trees and fish real slow with your drop shot and your Texas rig and your shaky head, and you're going to catch fish in most of these areas that look like this on the lake right now. So that is the so-called deal on Lake Fork right now. You got to find those sharp dropping contour lines, those transition areas, as I've just showed you several examples of. Man, they exist all over the lake. And once you've located those, it's about fishing methodically and efficiently and picking apart the cover and figuring out how to get bit within those areas. And remember, it's important to remember, guys, they're not necessarily going to be right on the drop. They might be up on the flat beside it. Depending on the weather, they might be 50 or 100 yards down over here, 50, 100 yards down over there. They are spreading around. They are moving around. So you got to work hard to catch these fish. But those are the top areas that are going to give you the best percentage chance of catching not only more numbers of fish than most people, but man, these are the areas that the big ones go to. Many of you guys saw the 9.5 pound over we just caught last week. We've been catching quality fish day in, day out. Almost every single day we're catching some pretty big fish. Even if we're not getting very many bites, we're also catching a ton of great quality under the slot fish. The 2-pounders that are under 16 inches, we've actually been catching lots of those. It's one beautiful thing about this time of year is you can catch a 2-pounder. Right next cast, you might catch a 9 or 10-pounder. Like they're all moving around mixed up, so they're all kind of right there together in the same type of area. So it can all be done in doing that same pattern that we've been talking about today. So, man, hopefully this guys helps you zero in on what you need to be looking at for sealies. Like I said, those type of spots are all over the lake. If you want to see more spots like that, go download the Fish Life app, subscribe to the Lake Fork Premium Package. We just updated it last week. It is loaded with spots just like those that we were talking about today. It's also loaded with a few other types of spots as well that are holding fish, some little secret patterns. So we got tons of information on the Fish Life app, Lake Fork Premium Package. That will help you find fish faster than anything else ever could. But if you guys want to do your own map study, hopefully these tips will help you. I can't thank you enough for watching, man. I appreciate everything you guys do for us. And we'll see you next time right here on your Lake Fork Guide. Skeeter loves the camera. Skeeter, you excited? You want to go fishing? Bear. She jumped right on you, man. What's up with that? Poor bear. Poor bears. You want to go fishing?